Thank you so much, Lisa. Well, I remember a number of years ago, Carly will know exactly, 8, 10, something like that. I had met Carly and her wife, Elise, and at the time they were thriving working together. And so I think Elise had just joined the firm. Has an amazing branding agency, and they had so many projects. And most of our conversation was about how busy they were and just how it was so hard to get any sleep and rest because of all the work happening. So I was sitting in my office one day and I saw a FaceTime coming in from Elise, and I was like, okay, let me see what's going on. So I answered the phone. Elise was actually standing outside in Vancouver with foils in her hair. She was getting her hair done, so I never forget the visual. But she was like, Pam, I'm so sorry just to call you out of the blue, but things have shifted. We were so busy and we had so much work that we had no time to do any marketing. Sound familiar? And then all of a sudden, it seemed like from one day to the next, our projects were done, our clients were thrilled, and we looked in our email box in our pipeline and there were no clients there. And she said, Carly, who is a very competitive person, a competitive biker, right? Not motorbike, but mountain bike rider, was a professional ice skater in Canada, which is a big deal if you're Canadian, and excellent at her job, was having that kind of feeling that some of you might have felt of just being frustrated, being exhausted, feeling dejected, and needing quickly to get more clients coming in the door. So I said, let me talk to her. And we had a chat and we started to have the conversation about what could be some of the easy, small ways in which we could be connecting with people. Because when you're feeling, you're tired, you're feeling kind of dejected because nobody's coming through the door and everybody's like, you get out there, go speak in front of people, show them what an expert you are. And you're like, I don't feel like an expert, I want a nap and I'm not feeling very good right now. So we said, how can we think about how to connect with people in an organic way that leverages human relationships? I said, let's look at if we center your ideal clients and think about your favorite clients, who are the other people who they are working with in addition to you to accomplish their job? Because a lot of what it is that we see in marketing is people telling you, you need to be the supreme authority. You need to be showing people at all times that you're an expert. You can never break down and cry, on an Instagram reel. You want to show people that everything is going well in your business. And what I found in many years of business is actually we need a lot of people in order to support our clients and in order to keep our clients going. So we began to work on a strategy together. Carly, being very competitive, had to win every day, which was very exciting. So she got a notebook. And we did what I began to call tiny marketing actions, or TMAs, not TMIs, but TMAs, tiny marketing actions, specifically targeting people who were already working with her ideal clients. And it's in this highly complementary but non-competitive relationship. I call it PB&Js, right? Peanut butter and jelly partners. People who are naturally working with your folks. And in fact, your folks have to work with them in order to completely solve the problem that you're also helping them to solve. So little by little, Carly every day would do her TMAs. She gave herself a gold star every day. She got gold stars, began to build. And slowly, because she's a nerd and she loves spreadsheets, she tracked for years all the different outreach that she did to her TMA partners and her PB&J partners and marketing activities, and began to notice a very specific correlation between those actions that she was taking, the networks that she was building, and the results that she was getting in terms of a consistent pipeline. Through those years, some of the people who I was working with, like Susan Beyer, got to know Carly. I worked with her as a coach. Susan did a lot of work with positioning when Carly would come down to Arizona and do work together. And slowly we begin to have this feeling for us, if I may speak for you also, Susan. Susan and I begin to get this feeling of connection, of pride, of excitement about Carly. Because in this case, she's a favorite client of mine, but also I knew specifically that Susan was doing work with her. And then the more that we were all connecting, Carly was connecting with other people, we began to have this feeling where instead of just sitting back and thinking about how can I get more business for myself, our main focus is how can we do everything to make Carly successful? So a number of months later, a couple of years later, maybe 18 months or so, Carly got more consistent work, things were better, thankfully things were flowing, and then she applied for and received a $100,000 grant from the Canadian government. Congratulations, Carly. To codify her IP. So she got a grant, imagine this, to specifically document her very specific process, which she calls her surefire strategy, which is the approach that she takes to how it is that she builds a brand. And so strategically and methodically, she worked with a team in order to build that. For me, as somebody who loves and cares for her as a person, but also as a coach, it was so wonderful to see that growth. And all of us who were in that ecosystem surrounding Carly begin to feel and connect with that success. In the years after, Carly has been an amazing source of referrals for me. So it's always that reciprocal kind of feeling where you recognize somebody who for you is an ideal client, you love them, they are wonderful to work with, they really are aligned with your values. Because when we're talking about referrals in business, I'm not going to name, I never like to name a negative example, but there can be models of referrals where you might just join a group and you say, okay, you're an accountant and you're a lawyer and you're a marketer and you're a speaking coach, and so let's just refer other people to each other. Sometimes it can be a peanut butter and mustard combination. I don't know what would be, peanut butter and jalapenos, that kind of sounds good, but not really a PB&J connection. And usually it's because you're not really sharing values. You may not have a similar client experience. So you pass somebody on as a referral, you're like, right, the full service, making them feel loved and cared for, Jamie sending them gifts. All of a sudden you pass them off to somebody else who ignores their email for 8 days. And what happens is they start to be like, well, I don't know about Jamie. Like I had a great time working with her, but she referred me to this other person. Like, I don't know. You start to question the judgment and erode the brand. So the way that you can begin to think about developing these really strong PB&J relationships is in the context of an ecosystem where your ideal client is in the center, this person who you love, who you're excited about their work, who you want to see grow. And then your job is to be really identifying and working with DC fans in the house, Justice League, Marvel fans in the house, the Avengers. So you want to have this group around your ideal clients who you know are the very best experts in the field that you can trust, that are great at what they do, and very importantly, whose sole focus is the success of your clients, because that's really where you grow in your capacity to serve. You're like, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to get them to figure out their IP, but I can't quite do it. And all of a sudden you have your fellow Avengers/Justice League who can come and help you figure out how all of you can create the best kind of experience. So of course, it's going to create more referrals. It's going to create a stronger experience, but it also means that you're not having to sit back and worry yourself about just getting clients for yourself. So that's the place I'd love you to pay attention to in this evening, these next couple of days. Have you ever read the children's book, Are You My Mother? It's like, are you my mother? Are you my mother? Are you my PB&J? You don't really have to say that to people, but you're going to begin to notice when somebody is that person. It's a different quality. It's not just what they do, but it's how they show up. In my agency, I build licensing and certification programs. Every single one of my clients, after we build it, is like, can you help me with pricing? And I'm always like, I know enough to be dangerous, but pricing's kind of complicated. And I was always like, God, we need a pricing person. We need a pricing person. My business partner, Darren, found Christina Gallegos, who just left to go on her own, who did pricing for Disney, who did pricing for Google. Her whole jam is pricing. And because I knew that, we did one project with her for my client. She created this amazing spreadsheet matrix that was magic. My client could plug in some numbers and get all of her, numbers for a proposal. I was so excited that I had to hold myself back so I wouldn't scare her, Because like she doesn't really know me and I get very enthusiastic, but I was like, you have no idea, Christina. I mean, I could make you $500,000 this year because everybody I know needs what you have. And she was kind, she was timely, she was professional. So look for those PB&J partners, people who have highly complementary but non-competitive services, and take your time to begin to do small projects with them and watch your business grow.